Are you prepared for natural or man-made disasters, power outages, cyber attacks, ice storms, tornadoes, and much more? Don't miss the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this weekend at Southtown Expo Center. Hundreds of booths of long-term food, water purification, green living, first aid, survival firearms, wholesale ammunition, only at the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this Saturday and Sunday at the Southtown Expo Center. For more information and tickets, visit rkpreppershows.com. Self-defense products, body armor, free survival seminars, all that and so much more. This weekend at the Salt Lake City Survival Expo, Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 9 to 4 at the Southtown Expo Center, 9575 South State Street. For all show information, go to rkpreppershows.com. That's rkpreppershows.com.
If you ever wanted a quality greenhouse built in less than a week, then Herb Shack is your answer. This is not one of those cheap greenhouses that you find in your neighbor's yard after a windstorm or collapses when the snow falls. The Herb Shack produces quality greenhouse options that look cool and are guaranteed for 20 years. It's time to plan winter's harvest right now. The Herb Shack can have a greenhouse, large or small, installed before Halloween. For more information about an Herb Shack greenhouse, contact Gabe at 801-472-0428. That's 801-472-0428. The Herb Shack produces quality greenhouse options and are guaranteed for 20 years. Contact Gabe at 801-472-0428. 801-472-0428. That's 801-472-0428.
Are you prepared for natural or man-made disasters? Don't miss the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this weekend at the Southtown Expo Center. For all information, go to rkpreppershows.com. That's rkpreppershows.com.
Let's try that. There we go. Whoa! Welcome to Prepper Talk Radio, the only radio for the ready-minded. We are Scott and Shane, or Shane and Scott, as I like to call us.
And I say Scott and Shane.
The most exciting, most dynamic Prepper Talk radio show hosts there are, because we're the only two.
The only Prepper Talk radio show host?
Yeah.
That's right.
You like that?
Two. I like that.
Well,
worked for me.
We've got a fun show today. I've been looking forward to this week, and it's funny because it's kind of a catch-all show.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cover some topics that we've talked about before with regards to shelter, but we want to do a paradigm shift for you guys and kind of shift your mindset of how you think about things.
Yes, please.
We're also going to do another paradigm shift on energy, power backups during the second segment. Mm-hmm. And in the third segment, we really want to answer some more questions. So call us definitely first and third segments because we want to take as many calls as we can. But we're also going to do there's a show coming to town this weekend that we're going to talk about a little bit in the third segment.
And maybe you've heard about it here on other hosts talking about it.
Oh, that's true. They have been.
Yeah, they have been talking about it.
I guess the cat's a little bit out of the bag.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it. We'll leave it there. It'll be in the bag, rustling in the corner until the third segment. But right now, we want to shift your paradigm. Everyone, when we talk about what we talked about last week, which is shelter, when we talk about shelter, everyone thinks of shelter kind of a bottom-down approach. Well, I need a roof over my head.
Yeah, exactly. And I do love this paradigm shift topic because I find myself knee-deep in it every day, and I find it. I think about the statement. You might be a prepper if, right?
Okay.
If almost every conversation you have is awkward.
You just might be introverted.
That just might be me.
That's called being an introvert.
But or can be painful. If it's not about prepping, if it's not about current events, if it's not about our current awful situation.
Well, it's not completely awful. I mean, we've got Halloween next week.
Well, that's
free candy and diabetes for everybody.
But you know what I mean? My life has shifted completely. Call it 180 degrees. I don't know, from what it was before from what most people are nowadays. I bumped into a person, an old friend of mine in Costco the other day.
Costco.
Yeah, and picking up some more wheat, right? Got a pail of wheat for $16. That's
How big a pail?
44 pounds.
That's a good pail.
It is good price.
Good price.
Yep, and they've always had good price. So every time I'm there, grab another pail of rice. Wheat. Excuse me.
I was like,
wheat.
you were buying wheat, and now it's rice.
Wheat.
But it's good to have both because rice is a great source of protein.
I love rice.
We've been eating a lot more rice at my house, trying to get ourselves better acclimated to a simpler diet.
Yes, absolutely.
Rice, beans, wheat.
Cooking more simply. So, and that's I think, also part of the paradigm shift that I'm glad you brought up is that, speaking with this other old friend of mine, I bring up, I try and bring up a little bit about what's going on, a little bit about the, I try and kind of tickle and tease people about
watching what's happening with the
see what
economy.
happens, see how I can make their mind spin. And this individual had no idea what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the real estate market, it's back up again. It's going to crash again. He's like, what? He had no idea. I mean, and so I think that's pretty widespread, is that most people like to have the blinders on. They like to be ignorant. Mm-hmm. And I mean, ignorance is bliss. I mean, to an extent, until it's not anymore, right?
Well, we're living a false world economy. We're living a debt economy globally. Mm-hmm. We're living a war-driven global economy. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is it's just stupid. I mean, there's always an expiration date.
That's a good word
when
for
you
it.
live those types of economies. It's not scalable. It's not manageable. It's not self-balancing. Mm-hmm. And so, it's crony capitalism at its best. Mm-hmm. But as a community, as a society, we're still stuck with the keeping up with the Joneses mindset and modality of living.
Exactly.
So we have these conversations with people all the time about how can I better prepare for that. Dave Ramsey's great financial plan. He gets you out of debt, teaches you how to be more self-reliant in your finances.
Yeah,
right?
that's a great step.
Well, what about self-reliant in your food, self-reliant in everything else? And so it's funny because conversations tend to go quickly to finance because that's where people really get things. It makes more sense when you start talking about losing all of their money. Mm-hmm. That's more important to them than
painful.
Losing their food because they're like, well, if I've got money, I can go buy more food.
Yeah.
Well, not if there's no stores to buy it from, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So
the paradigm shift of not just changing a mindset, right? It's not just mindset. It's not just a different way of thinking. It's a completely different way of living, of looking at the world, of approaching pretty much everything I do. I'm not going to say
different way of understanding.
Different way of understanding, absolutely. So that's one thing I think that I hope effect we're making on you listeners is trying to shift that paradigm. You may think, oh, these guys are crazy. What are they talking about this about? It's because our paradigm is completely shifted. It's completely, well, if you're not on the same page as us, that it seems like what we're talking about is strange and odd and not normal.
You weirdos.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I thought we had a call there. But so that's what I mean by paradigm shift is that for us it becomes a normal part of life, a normal way of living, where others may think, oh, these guys, eventually I do want to live off grid, right? I want to get out of here.
Fully self-reliant,
fully self-sufficient, self-reliant, yes, and not necessarily self-sufficient, but self-reliant.
Well, the cool thing about self-reliance is it doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself.
Exactly.
It means you do what you do very well, and then you trade, and you still buy and sell. You're still a member of society.
Exactly.
But you're not wholly reliant on society to survive.
Exactly. And I think, previously those kinds of people were, looked at, lives out in the boonies and the wilderness, and they're just weird people, right?
Yep.
That is becoming more and more accepted, and more people are wanting to do that, to take that, get that exit, and live a more self-reliant life.
Let's apply that to shelter.
Cool.
Right. Let's do that paradigm shift on shelter.
Right.
Everyone talks about the top-down philosophy. I need a roof over my head. Or there's a smaller group that focus on shelter as being part of what you're wearing. Your clothing is a layer of shelter. Right. Let's talk about the bottom-up philosophy. Here's where the paradigm shift happens. Unless you've got a kid that's a scout that does winter campouts, you really never think about what you're sleeping on as a shelter.
Not as much as you probably should.
True. But there needs to be that layer of separation from you and the ground.
Exactly. And we see a lot of I look at a lot of bushcrafting. I'm not much of a bushcrafter myself. I don't find the need because I don't find myself. If I find myself out in the wilderness, I'm taking a tent, I'm taking a sleeping bag, my sleeping pad. I don't plan on actually building the shelter myself. Now, if I was somehow fell out of an airplane or something, found myself in a wilderness, and okay, I got to survive somehow, that makes a lot of sense. But otherwise, I'm more of I guess you call me an urban prepper.
Oh, yeah.
Or a rural prepper.
Well, I think that's like 99%
Exactly.
of the preppers out there are more urban and rural preppers.
So, I see a lot of these bushcrafters out there building these shelters, and yeah, it's a really nice-looking shelter, and it's waterproof, right? It's not going to get water in, but it's right on the ground itself.
Well, so that's the difference, though. They're focusing on the shelter of the
roof,
top down.
Exactly.
But then if you look, the advanced survivalists, all the bushcrafters they build the outside first so they can have a dry area, and then they put bedding down.
Or they'll even start first with the floor.
True. Some will.
With pine boughs or branches, whatever you want to call them, to get yourself off the ground, because that can be your first element of shelter, is just getting yourself off the ground.
And I think talking to the bushcrafters, it really depends on how long they're planning on being there. So one of the bottom-up philosophies is a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot nest.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Squatch nest. And it's basically you throw a few logs in a square, and then you fill the bottom up with debris, and it's leaves, it's small pine boughs, it's the softer branches.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
And you fill it up, and then you get in, and then you bury yourself, and so that all that's really sticking out is maybe your face.
Yeah, you can bury yourself in it, or even if you're wearing the proper, you've got a nice jacket, you've got a waterproof layer, and it's depending on, of course, the environment. You lay down in that nest and just curl up for the night, especially if it's that's something you can do really quick, is throw something on the ground and curl up in. And I think most people are trying to concentrate on, let's get a roof over our head first.
Right, and it's great if you've got a tarp, throw it up.
Oh yeah, or just
create a lean-to.
Make the nest and throw the tarp over the top of yourself.
Yeah, the idea: stay dry, stay dry, stay dry, stay dry. The important thing is stay dry, and a lot of times, watch for conducting materials. Right, what's going to pull that heat? Now the ground is really awesome. It's a great place to walk. It's not a great place to sleep. It will pull all of your heat out of your body. It's a superconductor that way. It will just absorb it all. And that's why you've got to get off the ground when you're sleeping, because it will just pull all that
Everything
heat.
tries to equalize. Your body's trying to warm up the earth, and the earth is trying to cool you down. And the earth's going to win, right?
Because it's got a large thermal mass, a little bit bigger than people.
A little bit bigger than
right?
people. So if it's summer and you want to cool down, lay right on the bare ground, right? And
as a kid, my favorite thing to do, and even still as an adult, is to lay in the cool grass in the shade to cool down in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It pulls that heat right out of you so quickly and helps you normalize to that better temperature. I'm not a hot person. I don't like the heat.
Yeah, same here.
In the winter, it's wonderful, but only when I'm freezing. The rest of the time, I'm good at 62 degrees.
Yeah.
That's kind of my prime operating
I agree.
temperature.
Keep it on the cool side.
Keep it on the cool side, for sure.
But when you get into those harsher climates, and in even the spring or in the fall or winter, you really have to concentrate, think about, okay, where's my body heat going?
Absolutely.
And especially in a survival situation. It's not always a survival situation, but you can, if you're out in the wilderness, you can very easily that situation can become a survival situation very quickly.
Absolutely.
If you're not.
And we want you to know, paradigm shift-wise, apply this to structures as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can't just walk into a building with a concrete floor and think, I can sleep on the ground, I'll be fine. No. Concrete is connected to the ground. It's still the same thing, and it's it's an absorber just as easily, if not faster. It will pull all that heat. So always, always, always focus on the bottom up.
Yep.
We got a caller on line 4. Let's take this
calls.
call. Thanks for joining us here on Prepper Talk Radio. You're on the air.
Hi there. Just in reference to your talking about shelter business,
yes.
I think that there's no blanket statement that can follow. If it's raining and snowing, you want to get something over your head right away.
Yep.
You just start building your bedding, you're just going to build a big soup mat. So that's not so useful. So it depends on what the situation is.
Absolutely.
If it's even really hot, sunny, you might prefer having something overhead to mitigate the heat. Particularly in the environment we live in, with this nutty sun that we get.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So for any listeners that were thinking we're only pushing the idea of focus on the bottom up, it's always specifically to your condition. A lot of times people will forget the component of the ground and what its factors are, especially
focus
like what
only
you brought
on
up,
the roof over your head.
the rain. If it's raining or snowing, you got to get somewhere dry, somewhere with cover.
Exactly. Or if it's too hot, you got to get under. under some shade and build that shelter. But yeah, exactly like you're saying. I think thank you for your call. Great comments. But don't forget about getting yourself off the ground. That may be the very first thing you should consider rather than having a roof.
Well, think about desert survival. What are the components of desert survival you've got to worry about?
Shade.
Well, the
Water
heat of the ground is gonna bake you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to either dig below that heat, find shade. I mean, there's so many different factors into it, and because we don't live in that kind of climate, we don't think about it here in Utah very often. But people in Arizona, when I lived down there, that was like the number one thing is like, oh man, you don't want to get caught out in the summer stranded because you're going to get cooked in Arizona. Mm-hmm. But that happens everywhere. Everywhere has region-specific rules you want to make sure you follow. If you live in a very wet climate, man, you better have an extra tarp, an extra garbage bag, something to keep
your
you
waterproof
dry.
gear, yep.
Something to keep your gear dry. And I really appreciate that last caller because that's
There
where
is
the
a balance.
focus needs to
There
be.
definitely is a balance. Excuse me. Definitely is a balance. You need to find whatever is immediate. Take care of that need immediately.
Absolutely. Hey, we're hitting our break. Remember, we're going to be talking about energy in the next segment with
Green-ovative.
Yeah. We've got a special caller who's calling in. We'll be right back. You're listening to Prepper Talk Radio, radio for the ready-minded.
Don't fall through the cracks at the other stations. Participate with the only true live, local, two-way talk station in Utah. Call K-Talk Media at 801-254-1640, 801-254-1640.
Are you prepared for natural or man-made disasters? Don't miss the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this weekend at the Southtown Expo Center. For all information, go to rkpreppershows.com. That's rkpreppershows.com.
Hi, this is your invitation to a screening of the documentary Get Me Roger Stone. Roger Stone, legendary advisor to presidents from Nixon to Trump, will be present for a Q&A after the screening of the documentary Get Me Roger Stone. 4:30 p.m. on Saturday at the Overstock.com corporate headquarters building, the Peace Coliseum, at 799 Coliseum Way in Midvale, Utah. Events start at 4:30 with a book signing by Roger Stone. 5 o'clock will begin the screening of Get Me Roger Stone with a Q&A with Roger after that screening. VIP tickets for a private reception are also available. You don't want to miss this incredible opportunity to ask questions of one of the legendary political strategists, Roger Stone. That's this Saturday, October 28th, at the Peace Coliseum, 799 Coliseum Way, the corporate headquarters of Overstock.com. For tickets, go to www.libertarianutah.org. That's libertarianutah.org.
Cottonwood Place Senior Living. Your next beautiful home is waiting just for you.
It's decorated so beautifully. It's warm, it's welcoming, and they take such good care of her.
I have not met a staff member I didn't love, and I didn't just know that they had Dad's best interests at heart.
I've had opportunities to work elsewhere, but this is where I want to be because it's home for them and it feels like home to me.
Cottonwood Place Senior Living. Call now and ask about our monthly special. 801-947-7400. That's 801-947-7400.
It's a fact. More photos of you are being taken than ever before. Are you ashamed of your smile? At last, a technology that gives a brighter and healthier smile in under 2 hours. And it's fully warranted. You'll never have to worry about your smile again. Call Dr. Tyler Williams at Pinecrest Dental at 801-512-2987 or visit pinecrestdds.com/smile-today and mention K-Talk to reserve your free photo consultation. To show you how we can restore your faded, yellowed, or worn teeth without surgery, crowns, or implants. And it's backed by a 30-day, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee. This scientific breakthrough will painlessly transform your appearance in one visit. The smile you've been waiting for will never cost less or look brighter than it will today. Call 801-512-2987 or visit pinecrestdds.com/smile-today to revitalize your smile.
Welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio, radio for the ready-minded, here at ktalkmedia.com. You can find us on our website, preppertalkradio.com, and we're going to be doing a review for this product that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so follow us on Facebook as well, and we'll share some additional information about this as well.
We're super stoked. We're super excited. We've got Allan on the line. Allan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Nice to finally talk to you, Allan.
We're excited.
It's my pleasure.
Allan is with Green Innovative.
Yeah, I've
saltwater powered battery charger. Now, this is the thing that like I geek out on. Saltwater powered battery. Well, charger. Saltwater powered. This is going to kind of do it.
It works really good.
It's going to be a paradigm shift for all of you guys that are like
only
solar or only plug-in.
Well, batteries, especially AA batteries, in my opinion, have a very large role to fulfill in any bug-out bag and any preparedness plan, whether it be just in your home, bugging in or bugging out. And so Allan has this really cool product. It is, what do you call it? Let's get right in. It's called the G-Mag Saltwater-Powered Battery Charger. It's a cordless battery charger.
Exactly. We call it the G-Mag, and we normally call it our G-Mag recharger.
Okay.
And it really is cordless. When folks can see a picture of it, it's got a couple of rubber plugs in it, one on the top, one on the side. You pull those out of there, put in a couple of teaspoons of salt, add water till it comes out the side hole, put the plugs back in, shake it up, it instantly makes electricity.
So if you go to greeninnovative.com, you look at this unit. It's about 5-6 inches long and 4 or 5 inches in height, and it basically looks like a battery charger. You have AA's on one side, and on the other side you've got your discs, right? You call
power pucks.
Your power pucks, which are magnesium, correct? They're just these magnesium pucks, and then you add a a brine mixture to the container, and that reaction, I guess, between the two is what creates electricity.
Yeah, it does, and it does it in a roundabout way, and I'd like to tell you about that.
Please do.
The reaction among the anode, that's the magnesium, and the salt water makes magnesium hydroxide.
Okay.
And when it does that, it gives off a little bit of hydrogen and a starburst of free electrons. And on the other side of this, on the inside of it, we have a proprietary cathode material, and it scoops up all those electrons and puts it out as usable electricity on the bus bars in the front. And for those of you that aren't going back to your chemistry real fast, magnesium hydroxide is milk of magnesia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm over here going, I don't know that, I don't know that,
but I do know that.
I'm like, milk of magnesia, I know that. Okay. So
it's environmentally friendly all the way around.
So if I spill this all over the floor, I'm not going to have to worry about my kids.
Yeah, you might want to clean it up, but it's. I think if you drink this milk of magnesia, you'll be passing stuff you haven't eaten yet. So it's it's pretty
good to know.
It's a pretty high concentration.
Okay. So how does this really work? I mean, it's actually creating electrons, but coming off of the magnesium being broken down by the salt water. Is that how that works? And then transferring from anode to cathode, or vice versa.
Right, anode to cathode, and the reaction actually involves the water as well. We take the OH out of the water to make the magnesium hydroxide, and in the process, we give up a lot of free electrons. And that's the magic to it. And then we're able to capture those free electrons on the cathode material, and the thing puts out about 3 volts open circuit, and it charges the batteries at about 1.8 volts. And it just charges right along. It's really an amazing device.
That is amazing. Now, you're going to send us some out to us for us to test and try out. We're going to do a full review on this and have it on our blog, and we'll share it on Facebook and such. So I'm really excited to put this through the ringer. So what is the benefit of having this type of device over just standard AA's?
Well, just let me go through a couple of things that you might want to consider.
Okay.
You never have to plug it in. You don't need wind. You don't need sun. You don't need a hand crank. It lasts indefinitely on the shelf, and by replacing the power pucks when they are sacrificial. So when you look down inside the power puck, when you pull it out, and you see black plastic there instead of magnesium,
so they corrode away essentially.
They don't. I don't like corrode because that isn't what they're doing. They're part of the reaction, and they're sacrificial, like the zincs on a boat. It has a purpose. It absorbs electrons. This makes electrons. But the real benefit is this thing weighs about 8 ounces without batteries. That's with the power pucks and without the batteries. The double power pucks will charge about 200 AA, 1,000 milliamp hour AA batteries, and they weigh in at about 13, 14 pounds. This is 8 ounces. Right. So if you want to put something in your go bag, you can put in 14 pounds of AA batteries, or you can put in something that weighs 8 ounces and is equivalent to 14 pounds of AA batteries.
That's pretty.
I think
that's pretty amazing.
That's the part that is the paradigm shift. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we talk about bugging out a lot, and we talk about your go bag. You're just having to carry things by foot. Not necessarily in a vehicle because you can throw all kinds of weight in that if you want. But when you're out by going on foot, weight is one of your biggest issues because I can carry 50 pounds, but how far can I carry it? How long can I carry it?
Well, weight and space.
Exactly, weight and space.
I mean, that's.
And suppose magically we could just delete that 50 pounds from your pack, and you still have the same amount of capability.
That's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. I think that's the part about this that gets me the most excited. Is it's the user friendly part about it is great, right? We all like user friendly, but the capability of having that much available power in that small of a space with that light of a weight. I'm not having to carry a 1 pound or 2 pound solar panel on the back of my backpack. I'm not having to have a battery bank charging system because so most people think of, okay, I need a solar panel, I need a battery bank that can then take that charge from the solar panel and then store it so I can use it on my other devices. I'm like, man, now I've got 3-4 pounds worth of stuff. Or I could do this 8 ounces and where what a fifth of the space those other items would be.
And sorry, go ahead.
The other thing I want to say is I like solar. Solar is it is a great technology, and it works really well between about 10 o'clock and about 3 o'clock. This one covers the other 19 hours as well.
There we go.
That's the next great point is what do you do, though, also, if there's a storm during that 10 to 3?
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the hand crank option as well because, I do have some hand crank devices. Obviously, we have radios. We have actually the K-Tor, which is a hand crank generator as well. And I think they all fill their purpose. And what I really love about, we'll call it my job, is finding new things like this, which, this is new to me as of just, a week or so ago. How long has this technology been around? How long have you been working on this, Allan?
2 questions. One, the technology was building when I acquired it. I bought license for the technology, and then I bought the rights to the technology, and then I bought the machinery to make it. And right now, it's all here in my shop, and we do it right here.
Well, that's fantastic.
So we've been working on it about 6 years. We started with an autonomous vehicle that we were going to sell to DOD, and the project wasn't funded. But the 12-volt units that we built for that would charge a 100 amp-hour battery in about 5 hours and do that twice with the anodes that were in there. Our unit weighed 19 pounds. A 100 amp-hour battery weighs about 90 pounds.
Wow.
And it would do it twice. So it's equivalent to 180 pounds of marine batteries, and it weighs 19 pounds. The issue with that is ours was free flooding with seawater. So it would come in and wash the magnesium hydroxide out of it. We're working on a 12-volt unit for desktop, but we need to do some development of pump and some filter and that sort of thing.
So I have seen some of these in the past where you've got a AA-looking device where you actually add salt water to the battery itself. I guess that's similar technology?
I don't know the answer to that. It's probably dissimilar metals, and ours is, but it's a magnesium air fuel cell. It makes power as long as you have fuel available, and the fuel is the salt water and the magnesium. But to get back to your question, I've been making this unit in various stages for a little over 4 years. The first one came in, it charged 100 AA batteries, and then you discarded it. So people said, this isn't enough. So I made one that would charge 200 batteries. And they said, well, that isn't enough. So on the 1st of April last year, I brought out the one with replaceable anodes. And each pair of anodes now will charge about 200 AA batteries, and then we also have a 300 AA battery power pack. That's been around for about a year and a half, and we made packages out of this, and you'll see those on my website.
Yeah, I've seen the different kits you have. So now basically you can swap these anodes out as often as you need. Do you have to kind of refresh the salt water, or once you add the salt water, is it good, or do you have to kind of change that out?
The salt water does two things. It's the fuel and it's the on-off switch.
Okay.
So what you do is you put in your 6 batteries or 4 or 2, however many you want to charge it, and we give you a little chart on how long it takes to charge those batteries.
Mm-hmm.
When the batteries are finished charging, just pour out the water that's in there, rinse the thing in fresh water, and let it dry, and it's inert. It stays on the shelf indefinitely. And then the next time you want to use it,
you
maybe
just fill it back up again.
That was my next question, is how long does it last when you're not using it? But if it's indefinite, that's phenomenal.
If you were to let it sit there with the salt water, and it would continue to make electricity, and your sacrificial anodes and cathodes would be used up and be gone. So you need to basically dry it out and then fill it back up the next time you want to use it.
Right.
Okay.
And to answer your question, how long will it last? You can give it to your great-great-grandchildren, and it'll work fine.
That's one thing I think is really cool about this product is, I've got batteries sitting on my shelf, and they do have, upwards of a 10-year shelf life. Technology has really increased and improved with batteries lately, especially, just your standard AA's, nickel metals or whatever, and these new lithiums. But you still sit them on your shelf for 10 years, and then they essentially begin to lose.
They break down, or they'll corrode.
Or they'll corrode, exactly. They'll sit there and
corrode.
corrode.
They corrode so quickly.
Especially in my basement where there's high humidity, they start to corrode, and then they're toast. So I love the idea that I can just stick this in my storage, alongside my food storage and my other medical supplies and such, and not even worry about it until I need it. I think that's pretty awesome. So the batteries, are these just a typical rechargeable battery that you're charging?
They're nickel metal hydride batteries.
They're nickel metal hydride, okay.
Yeah, they've been called the new super battery. Every nickel metal hydride has been called the new super battery. You can charge them any place in the charge cycle. They don't have a memory. They're easy to use, easy to charge. They hold their charge for a long time. Just really nice batteries to work with.
So will this charging unit of yours charge any rechargeable battery, or just the nickel metal hydrides?
Nickel metal hydrides are easier. Let me put that. NiCads are a pain in the butt to charge, and if you have them, throw them away. The NiCad is
that's kind of old technology now.
Yeah. Lithiums, a lot of people like lithiums. I'm not real fond of charging anything that says put this in an explosion-proof bag before you charge it.
That's true.
We focus on nickel metal hydrides.
Okay, cool. So I know a lot of these portable units are switching to lithium batteries. The larger ones, that maybe have 400 amp hours or 1,400 amp hours. I know those are completely different technology. Do you see yourself going back to the lithium technology? Maybe is that truly a better technology for this application, or is the nickel metal really a better technology?
Well, let me do two things here. If we look at the primary power source, and in our case, it's our magnesium air fuel cell, it is equivalent or better than a lithium battery. This
right.
The unit that you see there, a pair of double power pucks, puts out about 120,000 milliamp hours. I mean, it's huge.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. 100,000.
So we could charge these batteries. We could charge 200 AA batteries, and that would be 1,000 milliamp hours. That's 200,000 milliamp hours. Huge. I mean,
that's a great way of thinking about it. Yeah, that's a great way of thinking of it.
And I want to take you to the next step too.
Okay. Well, let's take a pause for a second before we don't want to run out of time. First, let's get all your information out there where they can find this, and then before we run out of time, let's get into your other what you wanted to say there.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, where can they get this? I mean, I know you're on Facebook and such.
I'm on Facebook, and you can go directly to my website, and it's greeninnovative.com, and I've done something here for your listeners. I've created a 12% discount if they're interested on our website, and it's PTR 12.
As in Prepper Talk Radio, PTR 12, 12% discount, PTR 12. Cool. We'll put this on our Facebook as well.
Right.
So that's Greeninnovative, and it's greeninnovative.com. So think of the word innovative, and then add green there, greeninnovative.com.
Exactly. That's the way I made the word up, too. Thank you.
Cool. Very cool. So, yeah, we've got about a minute and a half left.
Okay, one quick thing. My phone number is on my website, too. I wanted to tell you that with nearly all of our packages comes a USB block where you can charge your cell phone. And it has 4 different adapters. and it just charges away. Now it's an emergency device, so you can't charge it for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
When the light goes out on the charger, it put in another set of batteries and keep charging.
Mm-hmm.
It also comes with AA to D, AA to C, and AAA to AA adapters and AAA batteries. So all the batteries are covered from AAA to D, and about 1,000 different things are covered with the USB block and all of those adapters.
Absolutely. That's very
so
cool.
It's really versatile device.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love that USB block because that's, we buy all these rechargeable units, right? That are nickel or lithium batteries. We charge them, we put them in our bag, and we take them with us. Is your device something I could take on a plane, on a flight with me?
Yeah, we had it. It's certified safe under an FAA flight regulation, and
Awesome.
Mhm.
Very cool. So I could put that in my bag and charge my phone on my flight while I'm with the for 100,000 hours.
This
Right.
is awesome. Go ahead.
Last time I went through with security, the guy saw one of these and he said, "What's this?" I told him it's a saltwater powered battery charger, and he said, "Are you selling stock?"
That's a great question, though. That's a great question.
That was kind of leaning to what I was about to say. I'm like, this is a game changer for anyone in the preparedness industry, but also for anyone in the technology industry. I mean, it's just simpler, easier way to take care of your electronics and to take care of your power needs, especially in a power out situation, but also in a daily life scenario. It's easier to carry one of these. It's more effective.
Yeah, very cool.
Allan, thank you so much for being on with us. We're out of time. Check out our Facebook page. We just shared the promo code, and everything's there. So if you want to check it out, greennovative.com, and PTR12 is the promo code.
We'll be getting to a review to this in the near future. Thanks, Allan, for coming on with us. Good to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Media outlets changing their colors faster than the leaves this fall? Don't worry. K-Talk Media is here for you with the best local live two-way talk.
Are you prepared for natural or man-made disasters? Don't miss the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this weekend at the Southtown Expo Center. For all information, go to rkpreppershows.com. That's rkpreppershows.com. Orem voters, Hans and Melody Anderson need your vote in the Orem primaries August 15th. Elect Hans and Melody Anderson to make Orem great again. The greatest councilman Salt Lake City ever had was Harold B. Lee. He warned you about the Orem City Council. He said, "I warn you that the government subsidies are not the Lord's way." The Orem City Council loves subsidies. Mayor Brunst favors a new Utopia subsidy. The council voted a $58 million subsidy for the mall. They voted to subsidize high-density housing. They voted for utility subsidies for developers. They voted to raise your utility fees. They voted $190 million for a subsidized bus ride. Subsidies damage the character of everyone. Vote for Hans and Melody Anderson for the Orem City Council. Stop the subsidies. Go to voteforhans.com. Paid for by the committee to elect Hans and Melody Anderson.
Listen, the Eagle has landed.
Phyllis Schlafly's Eagles, leading the pro-family movement since 1972.
Join Ed Martin and Sherilyn Eager weekdays 9 to 10 a.m. Mountain Time on ktalkmedia.com.
The Eagles have landed, and we're here to stay.
Welcome back to the Prepper Party. You're listening to Prepper Talk Radio. Our music is so funny. I don't understand why we...
Do you want to switch it up? Because I still like the music.
I'm afraid if we switch it up, I'm afraid you're going to throw Carpenters in there again, and no,
I wouldn't do that to you.
The crap will hit the fan.
I wouldn't do that to you.
You already did.
But just once.
Yeah, you guys thought it was so funny.
So wasn't that cool? I mean, that's a cool product. I mean, I'm excited to get that in my hands and really test it out because... I go through batteries quite often. I mean,
oh yeah,
and I do love rechargeables, but rechargeables suck. I mean, I don't like.
Well, the Nike had rechargeables. They decay quickly.
Mm-hmm. They don't hold the charge for very long.
Yeah, like your first charge is great. Mm-hmm. Your second charge is good. Third good. Yep. Fourth good. By the time you're like fifth or sixth charge, you're like.
Well, any rechargeable battery you stick in a device, whether it's a flashlight or whatever, it loses its charge very quickly.
It's like an iPhone.
The
first time you charge your iPhone, it's awesome. But every time you recharge your phone, it gets worse
doesn't
and
last
worse and worse, and the battery life is.
But that's supposed to be like a lithium-ion, really nice
it's
battery
crap.
or something. But
it's crap. Most cell phones.
Well,
have
even my
batteries.
my S7, it's
Droids
supposed to have this amazing
better
battery.
batteries, supposedly, according to other people.
So yeah, I mean that's something I think we always struggle with. As I always use the term preppers. It's something I always struggle with is batteries. How do we take care of our power needs when we don't have a grid to plug into? Because it's so easy. I mean, to just plug this in the wall and in my vehicle and just keep it all the way charged. But now think about life without grid power.
Well, the other thing is most emergencies are short term.
Yes.
They're not long term.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So you do need that power quickly, right? You need that power available.
Yeah.
Long term, your power needs completely change. Cause
absolutely.
If it's a long term, I'm sorry, but
and
big generators.
And I'm glad you brought that up because
go to waste.
Exactly
Everything's going to go to waste eventually, unless you have something
renewable
and someone else to communicate with.
Yeah, exactly.
If everyone is in the same boat, what are you going to do? And so
exactly the key need for power, and I'm cutting you off there, Scott. I'm always is communication. I think. Yeah, we can do without light. I mean, we can do without flashlights. There's a lot of things we can do without
candles and other ways to do that. But we're on the same page, though. I mean, for all of your short term, duration cycle type events, that's 30 days or less.
That's where you have a pack of batteries hanging around.
You're going to blow through those batteries so fast. This is awesome because you'll blow through those batteries, and then you'll blow through those batteries, and you'll blow 200, 300 batteries.
And then you have some of these extra anodes sitting around.
Yeah.
Plug them in, and you just keep using them. I think that's freaking awesome.
And
so
we'll
let you know
indefinitely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, your long-term food storage, your long-term battery storage, and and we've got your long-term first aid storage. I mean, all those three things are kind of the most important three things long-term. To be able to have on hand, and this is a great solution. So we're excited to just test it out, really put it through the ringer.
And I think the key is that long term. It looks like we got a caller.
Let's take a caller. Hey, thanks for calling Prepper Talk Radio. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Tom Rogers out in Bountiful. I wondered if you had had a chance to look at that poisoning fact of the 12% of our families in Utah, including a lot of our preppers that are living in manufactured mobile homes. Have you looked at gassingamerica.com yet?
Gassing America.
No.
I wish I actually had a mobile home. I'd like to live off grid in a mobile home or something like that. But no, thanks for throwing that out. We'll gassingamerica.com. We will. I'll check it out and I will do some research and then we'll maybe talk about it a little bit here in the future. But yeah, Tom, thanks for your call.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's try and stay on subject here about we're talking about long term. That's the hardest thing to prepare for. Being a prepper, having this prepping mindset with this paradigm shift is, okay, how am I looking long term? And one thing I always say, I'm going to go back to it again, is that to prepare for the future, you've got to look to the past. And so that's really long term prepping to me is changing our whole lifestyle, going back to the ways of our ancestors. And they didn't have batteries, right? So that's kind of where my mindset has been.
They didn't need batteries. And
exactly.
We have this false need. We have this false belief that the only way you're connected is if you're connected device to device. Well, that human connection is much more valuable, especially in a survival scenario. The more people you have with you physically, the more connected you are with them, the easier it is going to be psychologically to survive.
Your own tribe. Call it a tribe. Call it your family, whatever. That's, and we harp on that all the time. But yeah, that long term, I think that's just something that I constantly am working on and struggling with is how do I make this paradigm shift a long-term thing where I'm not just teasing with it, I'm not just playing with it, and then coming back into real-world life. I'm changing my entire paradigm, my way that I live.
So thinking of that, here's the question. Are you ready for a natural disaster? Could you survive for days, weeks, or months without power? If you thought about that and what it means to prepare for the worst, we've got some special guests coming on the air right now. RK Prepper shows, Survival Expo, and gun shows this weekend. So survival and prepping is the part that we just geek out about, of course, because we're Prepper Talk Radio.
That's what we do.
So we've got Joe and Randy on the line. Joe, are you guys there?
Yes, we are.
Sweet.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Prepper Talk Radio with K-Talk. Now, you guys are new to the Valley. This is your first time doing a show here in Utah, if I'm right.
That's correct, yeah.
And I've seen you guys for the last few years pretty much all over the United States. Tell us about why you guys do this and what your show specifically is going to be bringing to the
why
Valley.
you decided to come to Utah.
Okay, Scott, we started doing this 3 years ago. Initially, we did 5 shows. mostly in the South and East Coast. Then 2 years ago we did 9, and then this year we have 17 all over the United States. We are expanding west. That's why we're coming to Salt Lake. We think this is a great area for the prepper community, and we're really happy to be here.
Awesome. So what does your show do a little bit that's different or that sets you apart from the other shows out there?
Well, we have a lot of different things. One, we're bringing a new vendor set in, as well as we're bringing some new speakers into the area.
Oh, fun.
Some new lines of expertise and everything like that. So it just happens to be just a little bit different than the other ones because we're a different show.
Awesome. So who are some of the speakers you guys are bringing in, just to give our listeners an idea of who to get excited about?
Okay, well, first of all, they can go to our website, rkpreppershows.com, and we have that complete list of speakers plus their topics and what time they're speaking. But, for example, we have Matt Stein, a noted author and design engineer. He's speaking on EMPs and solar storms. We got Joe Fisher, yours truly, talking right here, and Joe's going to talk about overcoming disaster, how to live and survive. Eric Bocher, who's a real well-known survivalist.
We know Eric.
In the West and everywhere.
Yep, we know Eric.
And then also Lisa Bache, who's talking about water filtration and purification. She's new to the area. She's a former Marine, has done purification systems throughout the world. Jeff Midgley, of medicine training for all ages and supplies. And Eric Patterson, who's doing financial survival. Eric's a CFP, and gives a little different look on financial protection for survivalists.
I think that's one of the best ones you guys have is a lot of shows or a lot of expos or even preparedness mindset people. They don't really talk about the financial stability portion, right? They'll talk about, oh, well, there's a collapse coming or this or that. They don't talk about, like, okay, how do you get a financial plan in place? So for those of you listening, this, in our opinion, is probably one of the most important aspects of your show that's coming in is nobody else is talking about how to be financially prepared for the big, the medium, and the little.
Now, I also noticed that on your website you have Pastor Joe Fox on there. Is he going to be coming out for the show?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Oh, I didn't see him on your paper here, but I saw him on your website. I follow Joe Fox, Pastor Joe Fox, on Viking Preparedness on YouTube. I love his videos, and I saw him on your site. And I was hoping he would be coming out to the expo, but I didn't see him on our information here. So
this
I was
is
just
basically
hoping.
Shane geeking out.
Me
for a
geeking
second.
out on Pastor Joe Fox because he really knows his stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't believe he's at this event.
Because I can hear you following through your papers like, where is he? I don't see him on here.
Dang it, Shane.
But he's on your website, so I was hoping he would make it out here because I would be geeking out, definitely. So
he comes to some of our events and that.
Out in his out in your neck of the woods out there, I guess, where he's at.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're excited to have you guys. You guys are going to be a Saturday, Sunday show. So 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 to 4 on Sunday. Is that right?
Yes, and the seminars are free. They're included in the price of the admission. Also, if you go to the website, there's a coupon on there as well as VIP tickets. So people can get in a little bit discounted or get in a little early to beat the rush and the crowds and beat the lines that are going to be here. So you can get the VIP tickets that way. The seminars are, as I said, free all day long, and it's a great little family environment that we try to put together so you can bring your entire family, stay, go to the seminars, get the education and the products that you're going to need to help your life be more comfortable.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think, I'm a gearhead. Scott and I are both gearheads. We love the gear. We love going for. So we're going to be there. You're going to leave some tickets at the door for us, right?
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Booyah. So, guys, come at least at the very least, come and get your family better prepared. I mean, kids 12 and under are free. Family event prepping is always a family event. I mean, that's why we prep because
Right.
especially now that I'm a dad and I've got this little one, I want to make sure she's got everything she needs to be in a good position to survive and weather anything. And so, prepping is really, especially in Utah, it's very family focused, family oriented. So, get your families out there. Forget, trunk or treat doesn't start till 5 or 6 o'clock anyways on Saturday. So get over to this first and get the education in because really that's the most important part is the education. The gear is the funnest part, but the most important part is the education.
And that's what I was trying to get at as well. And these guys, Randy and Joe, are probably saying, trunk or treat, what the heck is that? But we know here in Utah, we know what that is. So
do you guys do trunk or treat where you're from? Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah. We've got it all over the place.
All right. See, it's not just a Utah thing,
I thought
Shane.
it was just a Utah thing.
Shane's all like Utah bias boy here. I didn't grow up here in Utah, so
I've
experienced it in Florida. I've experienced it in Colorado. It's an international event.
So yeah, I was getting at it. I love the gear, and I totally geek out on it. But the classes really are, in my opinion, it's the knowledge, and that's one thing we always push on the show here is we love to talk about the gear, but it's the knowledge, it's the wisdom that you need to gain to be more prepared. I mean, that's really where it comes to. Is skills and knowledge are don't weigh anything. You can take them wherever you go.
We really think this is an all-star group of speakers that we've got. Some of them follow us around the country, and uniformly they are greeted with applause and appreciation by the people that attend the seminars. It's probably our most popular part of the show.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny because here in Utah, most shows do have an educational component, but you'll find it's the same speakers at most shows, and they just go from show to show to show to show to show, and they only stay here in Utah. So this is going to be a nice, fresh, and different approach. So awesome. Thank you, guys. What else? Any new products that are getting launched to this show, or anything special that you want people to pay attention to?
Well, we've got the normal run of products throughout the floor. But as we bring a few vendors across country, I'm sure that there's some things that people have not seen around here. Everywhere from fire starters to the higher tech gear, to a little bit of solar stuff. But you guys are pretty well up on the solar and all that type stuff anyway. But
we're total geeks.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. You just got to know how to use it.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the show today. Again, give us the website again and the pricing for everyone so they can check that out one last time.
All right. The website is rkpreppershows.com. The hours are 9 to 5 Saturday, 9 to 4 Sunday. Admission is $14 for adults. Children under 12 are free.
And where's your next show? Because we have more than just Utah listeners here. Where's your next show going to be?
Next show, I believe that is Indianapolis coming up.
Oh, we've got a lot of listeners out there, so stay tuned, guys. We're gonna post this on our social media page today, so you guys can find that as well. Thank you, guys. Randy, Joe, appreciate you guys, and thanks for coming to Utah.
Scott and I will be there, and we'll have our colors on.
There you go.
Looking forward to thank you guys for having us on.
Oh, you bet.
Awesome. Thank you. This is what I love about being on the radio. Is we get to meet a lot of cool people, we get to go to a lot of cool events, and then we get to share what we find with all of you listeners. Now, that's great, and that's wonderful, but it's way more important for you guys to get involved in all these things as well. And that's why we bring this to your attention, so that you can see what other options are out there and learn for yourself and get exposed to these things.
Get your hands-on experience.
And the best way to teach someone that's new to this, bring them along. Bring them with you. If you got a daughter-in-law, son-in-law that's really not awake yet, bring them along. Let's go wake them up.
Show.
There's going to be great classes. Even things that you may not know are going to happen there that could help inspire you. So we recommend everything that you can. Anytime there's an opportunity, go learn. Go be part of it. Go get exposed to new products, because you never know what could simplify your process.
And I think, just like you were saying, Scott, is that bring someone along, someone who may not have any interest at all, but I think they'll find that their interest will be sparked. They'll
Absolutely.
feel a little bit of curiosity and want to take it a little deeper, and then open their mind, and then again this paradigm shift can start to take place.
Absolutely. So stay with us. Next week we're going to be with Stan, or Stab Pruitt, as we like to call him. We're going to be doing some self-defense. We're going to actually live stream that as well. So hop on our social media, Prepper Talk Radio. We're all over the place. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.
Are you prepared for natural or man-made disasters, power outages, cyber attacks, ice storms, tornadoes, and much more? Don't miss the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this weekend at Southtown Expo Center. Hundreds of booths of long-term food, water purification, green living, first aid, survival firearms, wholesale ammunition, only at the Salt Lake City Survival Expo this Saturday and Sunday at the Southtown Expo Center. For more information and tickets, visit rkpreppershows.com. Self-defense products, body armor, free survival seminars, all that and so much more. this weekend at the Salt Lake City Survival Expo, Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 9 to 4 at the Southtown Expo Center, 9575 South State Street. For all show information, go to rkpreppershows.com. That's rkpreppershows.com. Everyone builds SUVs, but when you're ready to step up to the ultimate off-road machines available, there's only one place to go. Plan B Supply in Ogden builds customized Humvees and military trucks ready for anything you can throw at them. Not only do they look mean and have the ultimate upgrade